This is the next part of turning $1,000 to $100,000 by flipping cars. I already made it to almost $60,000 built up in the series so far. In the last episode, we flipped 4 cars at a time and we made $5,000 in a little over 1 week. And now we're back at CarMax auctions to see exactly what we can come up with. Let's see what we can get today. And we're gonna start here. We got a Ford Raptor. Maybe we can get this for a couple $1,000s. Psych, no. Even though we might have the money to get something like that, that would be stupid. That car would be sitting for years before I sell it. Instead, we're gonna start with something like this. This is a 2012 Jeep Patriot, and let's see the whole story of this. I mean, I will say the hood, just from the start, looks pretty dirty. Let's see if that, looks like that should be able to just be buffed off. Doesn't seem like it's rust or anything, so not too bad. It does still have a current inspection sticker. It's gonna be going out a little later this year. Car does look a little dirty, I will say. Got a little rust on the sides there, but not gonna lie, that's kind of common for where I'm at. I'm in New York, so you know, we basically have rust on just about everything. But let's see how she sounds. Okay, sounds good so far. Is there an engine light? Yes, there is. Let's see what it's on for. And by the way, people always ask, like in every video that I shoot, what scanner that I use. This is the main scanner that I use right here when I'm inspecting a lot of the cars. The blue driver scanner. It's a quick little scanner you can plug into anything. It's Bluetooth, so you can connect it with your phone. Very easy to use, and it's pretty powerful for what it is. All right, let's connect it. And let's see what it's on for. Read codes, engine light. Okay, and there's 2 codes in the system, basically linking back to what's most likely a catalytic converter. And then it looked like the other code that quickly came up showed that it might be a bad O2 sensor. Actually, you know, I'm wrong. I just did a little bit more research into it. It looks like it could be for either, really. Like there's these 2 codes that's on here. I mean, I'm gonna keep going along with it. Realistically, if I was purchasing the car, I'd probably purchase it low enough just in case there was like a bad catalytic converter as well. But let me see if there's any other issues with the car. Of course, I'm gonna go through the normal check too, just checking to see if everything works, especially now. I mean, it's still like summertime, so I mean, people need to have AC. We need to be able to make sure all this stuff works as well. And yes, it does work, which is good. So moving on, let's pop the hood. See what it's looking like under there. All right, so you always want to basically do the same checks with just about every car. First thing is usually just checking under the engine cap, if I can pop this thing open. All right, there we go. Checking under just to check to see if there's any milky residue under the engine cap. It's looking good though. And usually you want to check with the dipstick too. And the dipstick looks good too. Next thing is also checking to see the coolant. First of all, checking to see what the coolant reservoir is looking like, not only the color like that, checking in there to see if there's any like, again, like frothy material or anything, almost looking like if it's like oil that's mixing instead of just coolant in there. But also checking to see how much coolant is in the system. It looks like it's filled to the top. It doesn't look like it's really low. If it's really low, that's usually a problem. Coolant shouldn't just be leaking out of the system for no reason. So that could lead to something else, like potentially being a blown head gasket or something like that, especially if it's not showing any leaks under the car. But overall, it's looking good so far. It doesn't look like there's any like wet spots around the engine bay or anything either. Just kind of dirty. But that's pretty normal for a car this age. Now, what I would normally want to do if I was at another auction is also potentially go for like a little bit of a test drive if the auction could kind of allow it. But with this auction, I'm not going anywhere. There's cars literally stacked back to back to back too. So the most that I could do is just go into reverse a little bit, go back like a couple inches or whatever, and then go right back into drive and just kind of see how it feels. So let's test that out. I'm gonna go into reverse first. Can't really move too far, but let's go back a little bit. All right, and let's go into drive. All right, felt smooth. All right, not bad. So this might be the first one actually we're gonna be bidding on, and it's literally like one of the first ones that's gonna be going through the run lanes when the auction date comes up. So we'll see if we can get it. As I mentioned though, it's gonna really depend on what the price is gonna be like, because it really could be like a 50-50 thing. If it's like an O2 sensor, as simple as that, that could be like a, you know, $100 or so to change, or a catalytic converter that needs to be swapped out. But we'll see when the time comes. We're gonna move on to the next one. This is a 2007 Kia Sedona, another one with a current inspection sticker that is actually good until next year too. And let's see what the condition is like. Okay, not bad. I mean, it's a couple scratches on the side here, but I mean, this car really could probably sell around like $3,000 or so, 3,000 to 4,000, I would think. For that price range, people aren't going to care too much about like little scratches like that. But the real question is, like, what does it run like? What does it actually feel like turning on and stuff? Let's check that out. Okay, It's running fine as well so far, but another one with a check engine light. So let's check it again. Okay, so this is what it came up as. It looks like it's a fan control circuit that's wrong with the car. I'm gonna have to look more into that really to see exactly what that's kind of stemming from for this car. But at first glance, that's usually not that big of a thing, I would think, just from what it sounds like. But let me just keep checking over the rest of the car and just kind of go from there. So I will say as a quick thing, it feels like the AC is working, like there's a little bit of cold air that's blowing through, but it might just need like a recharge. Maybe there's a little bit of like AC Freon that might have leaked out. But I'm gonna let it keep running and just see if it gets any colder too. This is low-key the kind of like annoying thing when cars use these struts, these hood struts. They usually fail eventually, and most people don't change them. Now I can't even get the thing to stay up by itself. But I'm just gonna go through the same series of checks as I mentioned with the last one, see if there's anything kind of popping out at me, and go from there. Okay, so I just saw one thing actually. If you look under the engine bay, I don't know if you could see that, but it looks like this area down here looks a little wet, so it's probably at least something coming from the top that's like leaking down. It might be like leaking oil or something like that, because everything else around it seems dry. And I will say, this is kind of rusty too. If you look around just underneath the car, there's a good amount of spots like this that looks like if something hit it decently hard, it would just like shatter apart into a bunch of rusty little pieces. So I don't know, I think we might just pass on the car. Let's keep it moving on to the next one. We got another Jeep. This one's a Liberty, and like all these cars, it seemed like they just got inspected pretty recently too. Hopefully this one has a bit of a better story with it. Looks better just from kind of first sight. Ooh, okay, the seat is pretty shredded up, so if we sold it, we'd have to do something about that. But let's see what the story is with this one. Okay, is this the first car that actually doesn't have a check engine light? It doesn't look like there's one there, but what I am gonna do is check to see if the codes were cleared. So I'm gonna go back to the app. Instead of doing the read codes part, I'm gonna go to this part right here, smog check. If you have a different scanner, it might say like I am readiness check instead, but I'm gonna pop on that, press scan, and looks like it's all good. So what you wanna see is this, either if it says test is complete for all the tests, or it'll say check marks there. What you wouldn't wanna see, basically, which would show that the codes might have been cleared. If there wasn't any codes in the system, is it would say test incomplete instead, or it might say like a X on these same marks. But let's go through the rest of our checks to see if anything else is up with the car. So this might be the second car actually that feels like there's something up with the AC. Got this thing on full blast and it still feels pretty warm. So not a huge deal, but you know, we definitely have to do something about that before we sell it, if we got the car. All right, so I saw one thing actually. Looks like there's just about like no coolant in the system, or there is coolant, but it looks like it's like really, really low, like all the way at the bottom. So that could be part of the reason why the AC isn't blowing too cold right now either. I'm actually gonna leave the car in for a little bit and just see if it starts to kind of like overheat a little bit too. And as another quick thing, I just saw this. So if you look at this part of the engine right there, if you could see, it looks like one spot is kind of like a little more wet or darker than the other. It looks like it was probably some type of like oil leak or something like that that's coming from around that area. And you could actually kind of see it if you start to look more in there. It looks like that whole area that's around this part of the engine looks like it used to be kind of wet. It might have kind of dried up or burnt up potentially, and that area seems a lot more dry. So there's probably like a little bit of leaking oil somewhere around the engine bay. Now, if you were to ask why that's the case, I mean, can only really know but so much just from looking at it like this. I mean, it could be, I guess the simplest thing would be like a valve cover gasket potentially needing to be changed, which for most cars isn't too crazy, but I mean, it could be something bigger than that. And then that combined with the fact that there's like almost no coolant in the system, it's a little concerning. I think realistically, we might just end up passing on this one too. Really, we're looking for something that's more like quicker cash cars that we could flip, you know, potentially again within under a week and wouldn't need a crazy amount of work. So this might not be it. Ooh, okay, so this is one car that could actually still fall within our price range that we're trying to stay under. This is a Dodge Charger. I believe it's like a 2012 Dodge Charger. And the only thing is we might end up having to come back to this though. Looks like CarMax kind of does this sometimes where they'll open up some of the cars, but not all of them. So I'm gonna have to go up to them and just ask for a key to pop this open. But it's looking good so far. Even the interior, the exterior is looking good. It's in good condition. Just gotta see how it actually runs and everything. But we'll come back to this in a little bit. All right, so this is the next one. I believe there's a 2008 Honda Accord. And this is actually like the main thing with this one. Well, so far, I still haven't even turned the thing on. But it looks like it would need a decent amount of body work. And yeah, that's a pretty good amount right there. I mean, it's not going into the door area or anything. It looks like this frame and everything is good, But yeah, that quarter panel is just smashed in. But I mean, it is still a clean title. I wouldn't have to go through like the whole salvage title process. And I will say my body guy is good. So I do think he could actually do pretty well fixing that up. So I think I'm just gonna check out the rest of the car and kind of see from there. If it's only that by itself, I don't think that's too bad, especially if, you know, there's potentially a decent amount of profit that we can get off the car. Ooh, I just started it up though, and actually it sounds kind of weird while it's running. There's no check engine light or anything that's up. There's no dashboard lights that's on, but I don't know if it's like a bit of an exhaust rattle. Let's see, let me rev it up a little bit. Yeah, it sounds a little off. Let me check under the hood, see if there's anything up with it. Okay, so under the engine bay, it actually looks fine, but just checking under the car, and might have again another reason to pass for this one too. So let's see here. If you could see this right here, looks like this whole area right here is pretty wet. Look at all that. Looks like that's just a bunch of oil that's leaking down. And I thought I smelled something too. As I was revving the car up a little bit, it kind of just smelled like either like coolant or oil that was leaking from somewhere. So gonna pass on this one too. It's kind of crazy actually. Like these first batch of cars that I'm seeing are not in the best condition. Like a lot of them have the same type of stuff going on with them. All right, so this is another one I'm actually gonna be bidding on. I'm gonna honestly have to start speeding through things a little bit faster just because the auction is about to basically close with just the viewing times, but the car looks all good, sounds all good, actually doesn't have any problems. Of course, I'm gonna be wondering exactly what the price is gonna be since it doesn't have any issues to fix. But yeah, it looks good. We're gonna be bidding on this later. All right, so we got some bad news really quick. I thought I was gonna have a little bit more time to keep checking out some of the cars. We still had like 7 more cars, or really like 7 to 10 more cars to check out, but they're gonna be closing the viewing of the cars down a little bit sooner today. I'm just gonna be able to check out like 2 more cars. I'm gonna try to do it really quickly off camera and then just kind of close things out like that. Hopefully I could at least check out that Dodge Charger before I go, and then we'll just get right into bidding on the cars in a second. So let's just jump to that now. All right, so this is the day of the auction. It's gonna start in a couple minutes. First one up is gonna be that Jeep. From what I've seen, they don't sell for that much money, probably like $2,500 or so. So I'm gonna try to get it for like $900 and hope that it will just be like the O2 sensor, if anything, with it. From what it looks like, it's probably not like a catalytic converter, but I mean, really, you won't know until you actually get the car, but we'll see exactly how much the bids end up going for.
A few moments later.
Okay, well, that was pretty annoying. I mean, I tried to put the bid in. I put the bid in at 1,000. It was too late. It is what it is. So I'm gonna go to the next one. The next one that should be jumping up should be the Dodge Charger, actually. All right, cool. So we got that one. At least we got one. The next one is that Audi that we showed. With this one, I'm willing to go up to like 4 basically. Okay, so we got one more potentially. I mean, I wish again we had a lot more to be going for, but oh well. We got a Toyota Camry next though. For this one, I'm trying to go up to like 2,600 to 2,700 max. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it should probably be selling like private sale around 45 to 5,000 for it. So for the fact that someone bought it for that, and it wasn't perfect either, like it needed a little bit of paint work too. So I don't know about that one. I wish we could have honestly got that first one, that Jeep, literally like $100 away, but I mean, that's my bad. I was a little too slow. Like if I would have pressed it a little faster, I probably would have got it, but oh well, at least we got the Charger. All right, so we had a little bit of bad news actually. So I ended up pushing on the video and kind of connecting 2 auction days in one because we only got that one Dodge Charger in this week's video. So I went to the auction again, bid on some other cars, and there was this one car. It was a 2015 Volkswagen Jetta that came up. It started off at like $1,000 for the bid, as a lot of cars do. I quickly looked down to see exactly how much my max bid was gonna be for that car, and then the time that I looked up to just click the button to press bid, it already jumped to like $4,600. I clicked bid, like literally without even realizing that the number actually already got to that number. I thought it was at like 4,100 or so, and I ended up winning the car. and I was way over for what I actually wanted to be into that car for. This is the car right here. I mean, it's in good condition and everything, but I mean, just realistically, honestly, I don't know exactly how much profit we're gonna make out of this one. I will say I did end up getting another car, which should be a better flip, but I just didn't pick it up yet. But we're gonna see that and see exactly how we can solve this issue with a Volkswagen in the next video. Make sure you get your checklist so you can flip your own cars for profit, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.